Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you didn't know it, but I'm a fiddle player too. And if you'd care to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now you play pretty good fiddle, boy, but give the devil his due. I bet a fiddle of gold against your soul, because I think I'm better than you." The boy said, "My name's Johnny, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet you're gonna regret, because I'm the best as ever been." "Johnny, rosin up your bow and play your fiddle hard, cause hell's broke loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. And if you win, you get this shiny fiddle made of gold, but if you lose, the devil gets your soul." The devil opened up his case and he said, "I'll start this show and fire."
Jesus is walking down the street and sees a Republican blind guy standing. Jesus goes,
"Behold my child, I will heal you right now."
Oh my God, thank you so much, Jesus. Oh Lord, this is the best day of my life.
Then Jesus turns and sees this gay, handicapped, liberal woman sitting there.
Behold,
You better not fucking touch me. I am a fucking disabled. I will sue you for disabled harassment.
And that, folks, is the Democrat Party in one story. They'd rather stay broken and sue Jesus than get fixed. Sad. You must declare a national emergency to save the nation.
People that have been not successful, they're people that have been, in many cases, failures. They come from other failed countries, and they come here and they tell us how to run our country. They come from places like, I won't mention because I don't want to get myself into a controversy, but they come from countries that are not great. They come from, let's say, as an example, Somalia. They come in and then they tell us how our Constitution, how our Declaration of Independence, how it works. It doesn't work that way, and they're not smart. They have no aptitude. They have nothing going, and they're telling us how to run our country. And I just don't think it's going to happen.
You want to hear some dumb shit? Roll that beautiful bean footage.
This president is trying to push this SAVE Act, which basically would require that for people to register to vote, you're going to have proof of who you are.
Well, no fucking shit. That's the whole point. Thank God you're not our president.
A drama and then make so Please explain
I'll try.
what happened here.
So I just talked to George Christensen. He oversees the Milwaukee County part of this, and this is where they were waiting for these thumb drives. I'm told there's 9 of them that come from Central Count. They take those thumb drives over to the county. The county then does their things to get the results from Central Count.
Okay.
5 of the 9 thumb drives did not include the results. They had the audit log, but they did not have the results. So they don't have all the results coming from Central Count. So they're going back to Central Count to get those thumb drives updated correctly, to go back to the county to then provide the results. Time-wise?
Hour.
That's what George said.
Clearly a fixable situation. It's clearly everything can be tracked, there's a record of everything. This is the last thing the city of Milwaukee and Milwaukee County need.
There is no such thing as a laptop. The laptop that he eventually turns over a year later, 18 months later, to the FBI.
I believe that. The story, that was always the weak part of the story.
I have really tried to behave with this Columbia earthquake. But what did I just find?
Ay, qué fierro. ¿Qué es esa verga?
Little orb, a star, weather balloon. Then I remembered, and you may remember, when I tracked the H-bells last year.
I don't understand how nobody's talking about this, but there is a hot air balloon.
The ones that aren't your typical Roswell weather balloons. Side note, there's a company called Sky, and they make these, and they have them launch from Roswell. I'm not making this up. But back to our H-bells. These are made by Aerostar, and they're called Thunderhead stratospheric platforms. They can stay airborne for months. They can change altitude to catch different wind currents. They can carry communications, sensing payloads, operators, coordinated networks. I am not going to say spy balloons. Aerostar has a serious relationship with the US military, with past exercises, kitting out Thunderheads with really nifty tech. So I look up our H-bells, and lo and behold, there was one around Columbia on the day of the quake. No, there were 2. I'm sorry. There were 3 Aerostar stratospheric balloons operating in the broader Western Columbia region, and one of them came less than 30 kilometers from the epicenter, less than 3 hours before the rupture happened. So I pulled the flight tracks, and I analyzed them. I really analyzed them. H-bell 790 passed within 30 kilometers of that location, precisely 2 hours and 57 minutes before this 7.4 earthquake. So then I thought, do these balloons just happen to fly close to earthquakes? Nope. No, they don't. So this August the 10th one kind of stands out, which does not mean the balloons caused the earthquake. So I'm thinking, I wonder what our friends, the US military, are doing anything in the area on August 10th. Bingo! Panamax 2026. Panama hosting, Colombia co-leading the air component with the United States Southern Command. And on August 5th, this official US military photo shows American and Panamanian personnel posing with a high-altitude balloon. So Panamax is a very plausible explanation for our American, not spy balloons, operating around Panama and Western Colombia on August the 10th, right? Right? Can I prove these exact H-bells were part of Panamax? No. But it seems plausible. I find the whole thing very spooky. But spooky seems to be able to be explained here. Oh, and our original orb? I think it was Venus. This has been a journey. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
If you step on a rusty nail, you should have had a tetanus shot, right? Well, that's what we've been told. The tetanus shot changed everything for me. It was the last toxin I ever had injected in my body and made me so incredibly sick that it forced me to look into what was actually in it. Believe it or not, tetanus vaccines are usually made from rotting organs, something worth knowing if you're vegan or vegetarian. They use cow heart and boil it in water to create an environment for Clostridium tetani, the bacteria that produces the tetanus toxin, to grow. They then neutralize the toxin with formaldehyde and mix it with aluminum adjuvants. No wonder it made me feel like death. Another thing that people should know is that tetanus doesn't even come from rust at all. It actually comes from a bacteria that lives in horse or cow manure and sometimes soil or dust. So unless you're working on a farm or walking barefoot through manure, your risk of tetanus is extremely low. And if you have a milk allergy, the tetanus vaccine contains casein and can cause fatal anaphylaxis, yet most people are never warned about this. Getting the booster every 10 years is also another vaccine schedule joke, as studies have shown that there's no difference in protection between people who get the booster every 10 years versus those who receive it every 30. But here's the wildest part. Even if you're one of the less than 30 cases in the US each year and you actually get exposed through a deep oxygen deprived wound, an additional shot, which is the protocol, wouldn't even help you because it takes 2 to 7 weeks to build antibodies after the shot. If you're already infected, it's too late. Instead, just take 1 gram of vitamin C, preferably from a whole food source, for 5 to 7 days. In a clinical study, this approach resulted in 100% survival in children with tetanus and significantly reduced mortality in adults. We don't need more vaccines. We need more truth and a little more vitamin C.
In July of 1776, King George III still towered over New York City. Not in person, in lead. At Bowling Green, near the tip of Manhattan, stood a gilded 4,000-pound statue of King George on horseback, dressed like a Roman emperor. It had been erected just 6 years earlier as a monument to British power. But by the summer of 1776, Americans no longer saw majesty in this statue. They saw tyranny. On July 9, 1776, George Washington gathered his troops in New York and had the newly adopted Declaration of Independence read aloud. The words had barely settled before soldiers, sailors, and patriots surged down Broadway to Bowling Green and toppled the King George statue. While the crowd saw tyranny toppled, Connecticut patriot Oliver Wolcott saw bullets. 4,000 pounds of lead bullets for a Continental Army Wolcott knew would be desperate for ammunition. So Wolcott had the shattered pieces of King George loaded onto boats and shipped to Connecticut. From there, ox carts hauled the remains of King George more than 60 miles over rough country roads to Wolcott's home in Litchfield. And in the Wolcott family orchard, a shed became a foundry. His wife Laura, his daughter Marianne, and local neighbors worked over melting pots, pouring the King's lead into bullet molds. 42,088 musket balls in all. Some of those bullets were fired 2 years later at the Battle of Monmouth, a brutal New Jersey showdown where Washington's army proved it could stand in the open field against British regulars. You have to love the irony. Britain sent America a monument to empire. America sent it right back at muzzle velocity. So let's celebrate our nation's 250th birthday as we remember patriots like Oliver Wolcott who made it all possible. From the White House, I'm Peter Navarro.
This was a big one for President Trump during the re-election campaign. Now with the power of the pen, he explains via Truth Social, we are not going to pay for our innocent children to undergo these barbaric surgeries and practices, which result in unthinkable and irreversible harm to their young bodies. Thanks to our strong position and pressure on this issue over the past year and a half, dozens of U.S. hospitals have already ended this so-called gender-affirming care, and we expect many more to follow. Just think about all the young, innocent, and perhaps confused children who will be spared. Between 2016 and 2020, there were 3,678 gender-affirming surgeries performed on U.S. minors. We don't know what percentage of those were paid for by Medicaid, but moving forward, that number will be zero.
Well, you may have seen these signs put up around the valley by Better Nevada PAC. That's the PAC that supports Governor Joe Lombardo for his re-election. But this sign right here on Buffalo and Sunset appears to show a swastika, and it is on both sides of the sign. The swastika specifically over California Governor Gavin Newsom's face. Newsom and Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford recently held an event together in July. None of the other signs here on this corner have any similar damage on them that we could see. A spokesperson for Ford's campaign says that they unequivocally condemn these hate symbols, and they're calling on Lombardo's campaign, rather, to join them in affirming hatred has no place in this race. We reached out to Lombardo's campaign. We're still waiting for a response this afternoon. I did reach out to the Better Nevada PAC. They say that they were just made aware that their billboards have been vandalized, and they're taking steps, rather, to ensure that they are repaired. And they also say that these messages have no place in our discourse. Reporting here on Sunset and Buffalo, Aaron Oriano, 8 News Now.
This is no longer the Democrat Party of JFK. Heck, this is not even the Democrat Party of Barack Obama. This is a party that has been totally captivated by these far left extreme liberals who support massively raising your taxes, who support abolishing your police, who support abolishing private prisons, who support reopening our southern border and our nation's borders to illegal alien criminals all over the world.
I was just thinking, you know what? I should just identify as a female, because the liberals will do one of two things. They will either love me because I'll be the first female president, or they'll throw their gender ideology out the window. Either way, it's a win-win. Mama always said politicians were like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. I wasn't always a politician.
Oh, God.
Actually, I wasn't even thinking about running for president at first.
Please don't.
Then one day, Milana looked at me and said,
Run, Donald, run!
Impeach him! He's a racist! Arrest him! Racist!
And that's pretty much how it started.
You actually ran?
Yes.
For president?
Yes.
Oh, this is a nightmare.
But before I became president, before the rallies, before the debates, I met Barack Obama. Is this seat taken?
My friend Joe was supposed to sit here, but he pooped his pants.
I thought I smelled shit.
Have you ever just wanted to destroy a country?
No, never.
I know just about everything there is to know about destroying a country. Have you ever wanted to destroy a country?
No. I've just always wanted to make my country great.
I've been wanting to destroy America all my life. I started out as a community organizer. Then I became director of the Developing Communities Project. After that, I became a voter registration organizer. Then I became a lawyer. Then a lecturer in constitutional law. After that, I became an Illinois state senator. Then I became a United States senator from Illinois. And eventually, I became president of the United States.
So you're just a piece of shit then?
Yeah, I guess you could say I've been trying to destroy America my whole life.
Not me. I want to save America.
My given name is Barack Hussein Obama II, but people just call me Obama.
My name is Donald Trump. People call me Donald Trump.
If you want, I can teach you how to destroy America.
No thanks, but I would like to hear about your crimes in case I decide to arrest you someday.
Well, let's see. There was treason.
What else?
Conspiracy, abuse of power, obstruction of justice, election interference, campaign finance violations, illegal surveillance, wiretapping, civil rights violations, constitutional violations, war crimes, perjury, false statements, election interference, election fraud, campaign finance violations, espionage, illegal surveillance, unconstitutional surveillance, wiretapping, civil rights violations, constitutional violations, war crimes, contempt of Congress, cover-up, conspiracy to defraud the United States, money laundering, bribery, corruption, foreign influence, foreign agent violations, fraud, identity fraud, birth certificate fraud, immigration fraud, human rights violations, abuse of intelligence agencies, political targeting, retaliation against whistleblowers, unlawful use of military force, illegal drone strikes, unlawful killing of U.S. citizens, and obstruction of congressional investigations.
And that's all I have to say about that.
I should have been president.
Mama always said politicians were like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life. in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the streets, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy and you.
Donald, someone is living in our guest house.
Is that a bow tie rack?
Morning. Great sleep. Your ocean sounds are remarkable, by the way. Very calming frequency.
How long have you been in my guest house?
2 weeks. I've recorded 6 episodes from here. Your listeners think I'm in Maine. I'm not. I'm 200 feet from your pool. It's been very productive.
He has groceries in the fridge. Smoked salmon.
You went shopping?
I mean, I wasn't going to eat your food, Donald. That would be rude. I'm a squatter, not a thief. There's a difference. It's an important distinction.
It is not an important distinction.
By the way, do you mind if I use this conversation? The episode drops Thursday. I'm calling it Inside Mar-a-Lago. It's already titled. Already edited, actually.
You're making a podcast about living in my house?
The irony is what makes it compelling, Donald. You're the most powerful man in the world and you can't secure a guest house. That's a story.
I want him out.
Thursday. Final edit approval.
No.
He said no. In my guest house, using my waves. And the episode's going to be very good. I already know it. That's the worst part.
If God is real, why is the world such a mess? That's one of the biggest questions that people ask. But there's a simple story that might help you think about it differently. Hi, I'm Gray. I make videos about Christianity on the internet to help you grow closer to God. Okay, so here's the story. A man was getting his hair cut when the barber said, I don't believe in God. If God was real, there wouldn't be so much pain and suffering in the world. The man didn't argue. He just left. Outside, he saw someone with long, dirty, tangled hair and a huge beard. So he walked back into the barber shop and said, barbers don't exist. The barber laughed. And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm right here. The man replied. And then the man said, if barbers existed, then nobody would look like that. And then the barber said, that's because they never came to me. Exactly. Just because people are broken doesn't mean God isn't real, but it might mean they've never come to the one who can change them. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. God doesn't force people into a relationship with him. He invites us. He gives us the freedom to choose. That doesn't answer every question about suffering, but it reminds us of something important. The problem isn't that God isn't there. The problem is that many people never come to him. So the next time someone says, if God is real, why is the world so broken? Remember the barber story. Broken people don't prove that God doesn't exist. Instead of just asking whether God is real, ask whether you've actually come to know him. Fall for more. Peace. God bless.
Hey, what's up, America? The cost of living here in the United States is now so high that the average standard of living is starting to drop across the board. This means that the once or twice a year vacations that Americans normally take are starting to fall by the wayside. The standard of breakfast, lunch, and dinner is starting to fall by the wayside as more and more Americans are starting to skip meals. Particularly those with families that are skipping meals so their children can have it. Americans are also on average driving less because of the high cost of fuel. Americans are also purchasing less, purchasing fewer cars, purchasing fewer homes, purchasing less clothing. And when they do go to the grocery store to buy food, they're generally picking value brands rather than the name brands to try to save a little bit of money. Americans have started pulling back from eating out or eating fast food in any capacity. Many Americans are also reporting that they're making more money than they ever have in their life, but it's more difficult to survive than they ever have seen in their lives. Meaning that Americans are making more money, but the cost is so high, it's negating any gain you have. So this all points to the average American standard of living falling exponentially lower quarter after quarter. And while it's more and more difficult for you, the billionaires make more and more money every single month. There's no end to their money making, as well as no end to your suffering. Does it seem coincidental? It shouldn't.
Okay, especially with MAGA Nation, you have been psyoped to something I can't even believe, because you were trained by some of these same people that claim to be MAGA influencers to fear technology. I know it. I saw it with 5G. Remember 5G? It's going to fry everyone's brain. Well, America is about innovation. That is why, if you just seen the White House video on the wheels of technology moving in Washington, D.C., by the way, with this, what is in October? All the wheels of technology that's happening before all of us. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to that, what did we just post today? George Magazine. We told you about ElectRx, technology that goes in through you through electricity, like a little grain that makes your body heal itself. That is what's going on. Not med beds, not what you believe, but the wheels of technology. Stop fearing technology. America is moving forward with innovations, and people are trained, especially in MAGA Nation, to be scared of it. It's because of those influencers. Ooh, DARPA, scary. Stop listening to people. America is moving forward with innovation, and that's why we have the ebook, Ageless Tech. Stuff like that shows you, and that's the other thing. People fear AI. Stop being psyoped to fear technology.
British intelligence and their Democrat allies are attempting to bring the religious warfare of the Middle East to the United States. The media calls this organic politics. It's just young people rebelling against the atrocities of Gaza and the Iran war. But I see the British psy-war hand everywhere. Tucker Carlson and Hunter Biden joined together this week to claim that Israel runs Trump and America. Laura Loomer does the flip side and says that Tucker has been captured by the Arabs and the Russians. And then in Texas, the legislature is considering a plan to ban hijabs and halal food. They're going all out to ban the Muslim religion. The real target in all of this? Donald Trump and the midterm elections. I'm Barbara Boyd. I've studied how the City of London's intelligence services have created and used political and religious cults ever since the French Revolution. Today, we'll expose the hidden links between London, New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani, Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed, and Barack Hussein Obama. Then we'll look at how the British have used political Islam and communism as tools of subversion throughout history. Finally, what the Trump administration is doing about it. Look into the backgrounds of Zohran Mamdani, Abdul El-Sayed, and Barack Obama, and certain patterns just jump out at you.
What I'm about to say may stretch your mind a little, but your spirit already knows that it's true. After the unraveling comes the rebuilding. And the new world won't be built by governments or institutions. It will rise with the people whose spirits woke up first. The new world isn't built on fear or control, it's built on truth. The kind that rises in your spirit before you can even explain it. So what does the new world look like? It looks like people remembering who they really are. It looks like light exposing everything that once hid in darkness. And it looks like clarity replacing confusion, and discernment replacing distraction. And that shift doesn't start outside of you. It starts in you, inside every person who refuses to go back to sleep. Behold, I am making all things new. Revelation 21:5. And if you're hearing this, it's because your spirit already knows you weren't born into this time by accident. You were built for this moment. Your role in the new world isn't about being perfect. It's about being awake, aligned, and willing. You're here to stand between what was and what's coming, to carry truth when others cling to the illusion, and to stay grounded while everything shifts around you. And some people won't hear the truth through a platform or a preacher. They're going to hear it through you, your clarity, your boldness, and your awakening. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You only need obedience to the spirit inside of you. Those who have understanding will shine like the brightness of the heavens. Daniel 12:3. Remember who you are. You are coded by Yahuwah, set apart, carrying his light. And nothing in the world can change that.
We have made a requirement that this equipment be built in America with American jobs.
Bag alert, major 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 bag alert, bag alert, major bag alert, yeah. I might drop a bag on my clothes.
You do realise it's really happening. It's getting good. General Flynn put out a post the other day and he said the storm is upon us. If we paid attention to what we were shown yesterday, big topics that bring in the entire world all paying attention. Everything has to connect. Everything has to happen at once. Everything is going to take us back in time to show us how it's all connected to an evil system, how so many people within our lives and the people that we see on our screens have sold out to this system. A mafia, a dirty snake, traffickers, demon worshippers. These people have made sacrifices, literally. Well, if you look yesterday, Donald Trump made that big announcement on the vaccines from 72 to 11. Vaccines is pretty much what we all have to experience throughout our lives. COVID was also a big part of that, where the whole world went through it all. Vaccines is a big topic, big pharmaceutical. That's a mafia on its own. Donald Trump also did a post about the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, and said, no, he's good. The last World Cup's the most successful World Cup by 4 times. this man should be trusted. And there's a lot of people saying he's very corrupt now, and people are calling for him to be fired. Again, football, the biggest watched event in the world, sports, and tied to sports is corruption at every single level, at the local levels, all the way up to the highest levels, to the officials, and then on the other side, the online gambling, the betting. And that is a big one. And then yesterday, you also had the Tupac trial for his murder. 30 years ago, 1996, and now they got this guy on trial who was one of the gang leaders. How's that happening now 30 years later? But that's the hip-hop audience, that's the music audience, that's the black audience, that's a lot of more people watching. People need to understand it will all be linked. So a gang leader taking out someone, and then you'll see mafia, corruption at every level, big pharmaceutical, corruption at every level, sports, corruption at every single level. It's bringing the whole world in. So all of this is just going to keep unraveling now. It's happening, and people have to trust that we are in full control, and the people reporting on this throughout society in fear are the ones that know that their time is coming up, and that time is going to be when people see who they truly are and what they've been part of and how it's impacted you directly. So this is a great awakening. It's an amazing time to be alive, because we're never going to go through this again. This will be remembered throughout generations to come. We'll all look back at this time as the Great Awakening, and we were here to live it, and we were here to embrace it all. And then the new world is ahead of us.
Name one thing black people cannot do that a white person can.
Oh, there's my name. Got my Sarah mug.
Oh, and look, there's mine. This must be that white privilege we're always hearing about.
Hey, Sharkeisha Bufanda Labubu, did you find your mug yet?
Nah, I can't find my name. I think the store must be racist and shit. Y'all best quit playing with me, because I'm gonna crash out in this bitch. Take this!
Hey, Sharkeisha, you need to calm down and come with us, okay? But you didn't do nothing? Yeah, we know. Get in the back of the car.
Careful what questions you ask. If you don't want to hear an honest answer, don't ask honest questions. Also, did they have to put her in Aunt Jemima outfit? That's enough internet for today.
This absolutely unhinged voter ID campaign video is going viral right now. I mean, the song they sing is just outrageous. Check it out.
Voter ID suppresses the black vote. Don't you see most blacks have no computers, don't have the knowledge, the wherewithal?
That's ignorant racist shit, Hanoi Jane. How do you think we drive cars, fly in planes, rent apartments, survive police pat-downs? We never leave home without it. We ain't stupid.
Aren't you aware that the Save America Act is Jim Crow 2.0?
That's rich! Coming from the party of Jim Crow.
Voter ID stifles the votes of blacks and women and other key groups that make up the Democrat base.
Like illegal aliens and dead people?
Don't fall for this nefarious MAGA plot. Voter ID will destroy our cherished honor system and set America apart as the most racist, sexist democracy in the world.
Jane, you ignorant slut! Not having voter ID is what sets us apart by promoting cheating. Listen to this song, which is a list of countries that require voter ID. Hit it, Professor!
There's Italy and Germany, Chile, France and Latvia, Lebanon, Greece, Turkey, Finland and Estonia, Poland, Argentina, Bulgaria, Mongolia, Malta, Kenya, Indonesia, UK, Venezuela, Panama, Taiwan, Poland, Fiji, Spain and Canada, Jamaica, Denmark, Ukraine, Honduras and Slovakia, Costa Rica, South Korea, Portugal, Jamaica, Belgium, Czech Republic, South Africa, Colombia. There's Serbia and Singapore, Croatia and Ecuador and Haiti, Denmark and Japan, Iraq and El Salvador, the Netherlands and Sweden, Ghana, Cyprus and Iceland, India and Bangladesh, Bolivia, Norway, Switzerland. I hope you're taking notes, because there's going to be a quiz next period. Funny how women in most Islamic countries are forced to dress like voting booths, but aren't allowed to vote, but I digress. There's Israel, Ireland, Bosnia, Hungary, and Pakistan, Nicaragua, Honduras, Lithuania, Kyrgyzstan, Macedonia, Austria, Peru, and Slovenia, Nepal, Morocco, Mozambique, Zambia, and Namibia, Cambodia, and Myanmar, Mauritius, and Sri Lanka, the Philippines, Australia, Moldova, and Tunisia, Trinidad, Mexico, Thailand, and Guyana, Montenegro, Suriname, Mali, Guatemala, Malaysia, Madagascar, Tanzania, and Senegal, Uganda, Albania, Brazil, and Romania, Luxembourg, Burkina Faso, Paraguay, and Uruguay, and several other countries, but strangely not the USA. If voters in these democracies don't have a photo ID, they can come to America and cast their vote illegally.
In Arizona, he hired the ninjas. What were they called?
Yeah. The cyber ninjas.
I'll
give you an example of where it has been determinative, and that's in my home state of Indiana, St. Joseph County. The gentleman you previously worked for, David Axelrod, Barack Obama, got on the ballot because Democrats in that county submitted fraudulent ballot petition signatures. People, including the Democrat county chair, went to jail over that. Barack Obama should not have been on the primary ballot in the state of Indiana.
But that's not a voting. That's not a voting issue. Like that's something.
Well, it is a voting issue because he was on the ballot and people could vote for him, and he shouldn't have been.
Issue though. That's not a they're stealing the elections. Illegals are voting. That's an Indiana issue because Indiana is the one that determines who's on their ballot.
How did that get determined?
How did that get determined? It was finally exposed 2 years later. It went through the courts, and several people found themselves in jail. Finally. But that's the problem. It didn't happen. They didn't find it before he was on the ballot. But years after.
Donald Trump's signature will be on a $100 bill.
Well, it's going to be on all the currency for the 250th.
Everything.
Yes. So that as Treasury Secretary, I only have two mandates. The currency has to say "In God We Trust" somewhere on it, and there cannot be a image of a living person, but we have the president's signature, which again, I think it is appropriate for the 250th. During the 150th, there was a Calvin Coolidge coin, so we can put living people's images on a coin. The president's also going to have a coin coming out with his image on it. We could put your image on it.
Let's not get carried away.
Well, people might hoard. People might hoard it. So
my family, and that's it. Can I see the president's signature?
Yeah. So here's the sheets of hundreds, hot off the presses. Watch out! Don't smudge it. don't smudge it. So what'll happen? They're printed here in D.C. or Dallas. Then they go to the Federal Reserve, and the serial numbers are all registered at the Fed, and then the Fed starts sending them out into the banking system. So this fall, that these with the president's signature will be available.
When liberals see the signature, are they going to light it on fire?
Well, yeah, that's good for the U.S. government when they do it. So, their hair's on fire, so they should keep the currency away from their hair. It's on a coin. The president's also going to have a coin coming out with his image on it. We could put your image on it.
Let's not get carried away.
Well, people might hoard. People might hoard it. So
my family, and that's it. Can I see the president's signature?
Yeah. So here's the sheets of hundreds. Hot off the presses. Watch out! Don't smudge it. don't smudge it. So what'll happen? They're printed here in D.C. or Dallas. Then they go to the Federal Reserve, and the serial numbers are all registered at the Fed, and then the Fed starts sending them out into the banking system.
We have some major updates now on what's going on with Iran, and we've got these mysterious drone threats emerging around Diego Garcia. Now, they say that Diego Garcia is like our unsinkable aircraft carrier, but someone is targeting it big time, and mystery drones are being flown into the area. They're popping up either out of the ocean or being flown from far away. They're kind of tight-lipped on those details, but they do say that this has prompted curfews, meaning that troops have to be out watching certain areas on base. They say that they spotted these drones that look to be like DJI type drones, not attack drones, so to speak. The Shaheeds that will go in, dive bomb as soon as they get to the target. These are loitering around above fuel tanks, which is rather interesting. And they have an array of different drones out there. Again, you're talking more like something like these here that's sitting above monitoring what's going on, or potentially even one of these flying way high. But they had a visual on this, and they were really close to the base. And I mean, if the American military cannot handle some simple drones in their airspace, we've got major, major problems. And people need to pay attention to this. They should also pay attention to what CENTCOM is saying. They're saying that the U.S. strikes around the Strait of Hormuz are not effective. That's from their own mouth. So people can listen to Trump lies all they want. Our own U.S. military, United States Central Command, has said that those strikes are not effective. And that unless we're going to go on a whole full-scale barrage of new attacks, that nothing should happen. They say this is part of the reason why Trump paused on Friday, and there's this back and forth that they're talking. Well, Iran is saying they're not talking. There are no talks. They're sticking to their guns, so to speak. They reject this whole peace narrative of any talks. They say Hormuz stays closed until the U.S. accepts all of its conditions. They also reshuffled their top military brass, where they got all the hardliners at the front now taking control. And the U.S. tries to say that they enforce a blockade, but no one is really listening to them. Ships are trying to skirt through. They're having to fire on them. And they're not necessarily hostile vessels. They're just vessels trying to just get through. And the U.S. was supposed to be there escorting people, but no, they're saying they're putting up a wall. Well, overnight, some major things have changed. The new supreme leader, Moshtaba, has put a stamp on the national security. They're vowing to wait Trump out, as I said before. Then you have the Persian Gulf energy producers themselves concluding that Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz will become permanent. So forget what the media is trying to tell you, Trump's trying to tell you. Look at the actions of what's happening around the world. You have Persian Gulf energy producers saying that Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and that it will be permanent and that it will disrupt their oil and gas exports from here on out indefinitely.
Huge news and unexpected news, obviously. Caroline just put out an additional post saying that serving as the White House press secretary of the last year and a half has been the honor and adventure of a lifetime. She expresses her gratitude to the president for the privilege of speaking on his behalf at the podium and talks about how challenging it has been working in one of the most demanding and important jobs while also welcoming two young children in recent years. You know, she is the youngest press secretary in history. Huge achievement in and of itself, and was a very effective messenger for this administration.
Today we are announcing the arrests and unsealing of an indictment out of the Southern District of New York, charging 11 individuals for allegedly overseeing an extensive, decade-long marriage fraud scheme involving more than 1,000 sham marriages between Chinese nationals and United States citizens, and then the submission of fraudulent applications for green cards. This is one of the largest marriage fraud prosecutions in United States history. This scheme was not a quick fly-by-night operation, but rather a years-long, multi-million-dollar cottage industry to criminally assist people who would not or legally could not otherwise become citizens of the United States. The men and women who facilitated this scheme were all naturalized citizens originally from China and one green card holder. Under President Trump's leadership, the Department of Justice is working alongside our partners at DHS to secure the border and protect American communities.
Poverty Law Center. Can you please speak a little bit about what you've learned as part of that investigation and if we should expect more charges?
Yes, today, my understanding is today there was an arrest made and there is a new indictment that includes the former CFO of SPLC. I don't have any comments about whether we've said from the beginning, everybody, not just me, but anybody who's talked about this case, like virtually every criminal case, the fact that an indictment is returned doesn't end the investigation. It's just part of the investigation in most cases, which is certainly true in this case. I think as alleged in the indictment, this individual participated in the scheme as alleged. I believe she was part of the effort to open bank accounts in completely fictitious companies' names and make payments to individuals for reasons that were not that were not accurate as described. But I don't have. I think the indictment was unsealed this morning. I believe it was unsealed this morning. I think the arrest was this morning. I don't have anything to say beyond that, except to say that this is exactly what we said would happen in a case like this, which is that our investigators and the U.S. attorneys and the agents working the case can keep on working it even after the initial indictment.
Thank you. Question about yesterday.
The National Guard is being called into the town and surrounding towns that I live in. I am currently 3 towns away from where I live, restoring power with linemen. I don't even know that I'll be able to get home. Every direction to my house from here is flooded. I'll give you guys updates, but I just can't help but know that this is manufactured. It reminds me of Helen. I'm 45 years old and I've never seen anything like this in my life. They're calling in the National Guard, Southeast Ohio. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm still with my linemen restoring power.
Sadly, I've heard too many stories like this where you have someone who commits a heinous crime like this and there just doesn't seem to be the level of accountability that we should have. And I'm all for rehabilitation and second chances. That's a very important part of our system. But for those who commit murder, who commit these heinous crimes, I do think our state has swung way too far in the other direction. You mentioned Prop 57 as an example of that. Or there's a law that the legislature passed. They called it an elderly parole law. But it applies to people who are 50. I'm not sure what definition of elderly that is. And it applies to the most heinous criminals. There was an individual around here who was sentenced to hundreds of years in prison who molested, I think it was 7 or 8 different very young children. The judge described him as the monster that every parent fears most and was granted parole because of this law. So there's a lot of different aspects of this, but having a little more accountability for these serious violent crimes, I think is really important as well.
Is there another trans cult out there? This is independent journalist and New York Times bestselling writer Andy Ngo. If you've been following my reporting, you know that I'll have a book coming out in October about the Zizian trans death cult. I've been reporting on trans violence, far less violence, and more recently trans cults now for years. Last week, a disturbing case arose out of Cincinnati, Ohio. A 7-year-old boy named William Evans Ellis was found dead in a closet in a home, bound with duct tape. And according to investigators, the injuries on his body showed that he had likely been the victim of sustained violent torture. The liberal media reported that 3 women were arrested. 1 woman was indeed arrested, however, the other 2 are adult men who identify as women. And in my new report, I pull the curtains back to look at the circumstances of what may have led to this boy's horrific murder. First, what I found is that this group operated potentially with some cult-like elements in the home that they lived together. There were at least 3 adult men who identified as trans in addition to the biological women who were in this group. And the boy served the function of being the shared child amongst the moms. I investigated and found social media posts of one of the members, and there shows a long and disturbing history of what appears to have been the systematic grooming of this child into a trans identity, as well as vignettes into what this child experienced inside that home. He was a special needs boy. It appears that he was not put in school, and he was isolated from the outside world entirely. According to neighbors, they had no idea that a child even lived there. I found posts from the boy's biological father where he expressed being very upset when his then 4-year-old son had misgendered him, called him dad. And you wouldn't be surprised to hear that one of the suspects who have been charged in the child's murder was out on bail for another violent attack where he bashed in a woman's teeth and brandished a firearm on people who tried to intervene in the parking lot in Fairfield, Ohio. Follow my reporting at ngocomment.com. Read my new report and let me know what you think. Thank you.
Why don't you give 95% of your money away and go live on a commune?
Do you really think that that's how it works? Do you really think
Why
that's
not?
how it works?
Go live
silly?
what you preach.
Look,
I'm a free market capitalist. I employ people. I took a risk. I have my own startup business. Every single day, I practice what I preach. He wants other people to contribute to what he considers to be a good idea, what he considers will make the world a better place. That you have the freedom to go live as a socialist. Go do it, Hassan. What's stopping you?
Are you serious about taking a third term? Everybody asked me that question, and you know that the law is very strong on that. I'd love to run, but the law is very strong. I get asked by even tonight they're screaming at the event, 2028. No, everybody wants me to do it, but the law is very strong. Thank you.
In August of 2023, China launched a rocket that they said was carrying the Ludi Tansi 401 satellite up into geosynchronous orbit, some 22,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. That particular satellite was one of a kind. What made that satellite so special is that it was the world's first and only synthetic aperture radar, otherwise known as SAR, satellite in geosynchronous orbit. Essentially, they can take high-resolution photos day or night, regardless of the weather conditions. You can think of it as basically a new Chinese super satellite that, because of its distance from the Earth, can maintain 24/7 surveillance on approximately 1/3 of the planet's surface. Their view, it basically spans a circle which includes all of Australia, the eastern part of Africa, all of the Middle East, as well as everything south of Russia within Asia. In December of 2023, China launched another satellite also into geosynchronous orbit. This one was an optical imaging spy satellite. It would allow the Chinese government to spot vehicles, aircrafts, as well as vessels across wide regions. And of course, those two satellites, being both owned by China, can be used in tandem with one another. These two Chinese satellite systems was really enough to put the US Space Force on edge. That's because the optical sensors on those Chinese satellites, they would be able to spot American stealth aircraft, which are designed to be undetected by conventional radar.
This scale is broken.
It's not broken, Donald.
It said a number I don't agree with. Therefore, it's broken. That's how this works.
That's not how scales work.
I'm 6'3". I'm big boned. This number doesn't account for leadership mass. There's no setting for carries the weight of the free world. Very unfair scale.
The doctor said the same number last week.
The doctor is in on it. He and this scale are colluding.
Against your weight?
Against my brand. Problem solved. If there's no scale, there's no number. That's called executive action.
That's the third scale this year, Donald.
And they were all liars.
And the next president's going to have a big decision. What do you do with the half-finished, ballroom? There's going to be a long list. De-gold the horses, take down the stick on gold. Feels like Saddam Hussein. When I was in Baghdad after the fall of Saddam Hussein, I had meetings. I was then a senator. I had meetings in some of his palaces, and they were quite reminiscent of what we are seeing in our own White House. It's just insane. Is that hard for you to watch? You know what? It's sad to me. It's sad that it's so tackied up, and it's a reflection of, his narcissistic personality and his need to feel important, including sticking gold embellishments all over the walls of the Oval Office. This is a man whose mind apparently goes to where can I add more gold instead of how do I get out of Iran without looking like the loser that I am.
Every Pakistani had or has a crush on his or her cousin. 100%, bro. There was a time, when I had a crush on my cousin, not gonna lie, bro. I saw my cousin after a long time again. It was in Pakistan, And I was like, I want to get married to you. Just let me get shadi to you, man. We Pakistanis were born to love our cousins. We are born to get married to our cousins. This is our destiny. This is the kismet of the Pakistanis to get married to their cousins, bro. We are supposed to love our mamu ki beti or chachu ki beti, bro. Marrying your cousin is the best thing you can do nowadays because there's no divorce.
Okay, because it's so hard to get the Senate to do anything. Now they're on recess. They don't get anything done if they never get the Save America Act done. You have the right to declare a national security emergency for elections. And the Supreme Court ruled in 1983 under Reagan, that INS versus Chadha, that if you declare a national security emergency as the President of the United States, they can't challenge it. It can only be overturned by a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress. So if you do this in the next month, we will get photo ID, proof of citizenship, and a limit to mail-in ballots, and you don't even need the Senate vote.
Okay, I'll leave it at that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. So let me finish with a couple things. Dr. Fauci, can't you challenge the auto pen? You should challenge in court
we are doing
the auto pen.
We are doing.
You are doing it. Okay, good.
What has to happen? I mean, I've become an expert on the auto pen thing.
But Democratic Socialist Francesca Hong in Wisconsin is expected to win her Democratic primary. There's been some attention to some of her social media posts recently, but she has this platform of free childcare, state-run grocery stores, more health care subsidies. She wants to raise income taxes on millionaires. Some of this does seem to align with your platform. So I'm wondering, why don't you support her? Is some of what she supports too extreme for you?
No, raising taxes on the rich, making sure that everybody in Wisconsin or America has health care as a right, sounds quite reasonable to me.
All right, everybody. Does anybody have any other questions?
If the AP calls the race with Lisa Davis in the next half hour, will you concede?
If who does?
If the AP calls the race.
What does the AP with the voters? What the AP, why would I listen to the AP? There's 265,000 votes left to count. I'm down by 18,000 now. We just gained 5,000. I'm not going to give up this race until the votes are counted. That's nonsense.
Until all the votes are counted?
Until the votes are counted where I can't win. I mean, why would I call it now? Should I say it again? Now there's 264,000 votes left to count.
Fox News alert breaking moments ago. Fox News confirming the arrest of former Southern Poverty Law Center executive Heidi Beirich. Sources say she is accused of overseeing secret payments to informants. Attorney General Todd Blanche referenced the case last hour.
think as alleged in the indictment, this individual participated in the scheme as alleged. I believe she was part of the effort to open bank accounts in completely fictitious companies' names and make payments to individuals for reasons that were not that were not accurate as described. But I don't have. I think the indictment was unsealed this morning. I believe it was unsealed this morning. I think the arrest was this morning.
The New York Post reports that Byrick funneled $1.2 million in SPLC donor money to an informant in a white supremacist group.
What's a conspiracy theory that you believe in? I'm asking both of you.
A conspiracy theory that I believe in? Well, it's not a conspiracy theory. Okay. And, but I have long been on this UAP thing.
Okay.
And now, I've sort of surrendered that portfolio to someone else who you know well, who's very much in charge of the UAP issue. Again, it's not, what I say is, I don't know who it is, I don't know what it is, but there are things flying over our military installation and they're not ours, and we should look into this, be serious about it. And I did that for a long time in the Senate, and it had two benefits. The first is that obviously it's a legitimate topic, and the second is, whatever the news of the day was, it was controversial, and a reporter comes up to you, and you say to them, look, I don't have time for these questions about politics. Do you realize there's things flying over airspace? We don't know what they are. And the reporter's like, oh, what do you know? Tell me more. So it was extraordinarily effective as a diversionary tactic in addition to. Now that said, it's also a very legitimate topic that we should be covering. So I don't call it a conspiracy. I don't know the answer to any of it. I'm just, asking the questions about, we should know what's flying over our airspace. But I don't think that's a conspiracy theory as much as it is just, it can be in some sense because people do believe we're covering something up. And I assure you, like in this administration, if we knew, like the president would be all over it. Like there would be, prime time address. He would, he'd be showing the pictures and the videos. But, Stephen's on that case now, and I think he's doing a great job with that. Do you hear a lot about it?
No, he says it's classified.
Oh, okay.
I try. He's like, it's classified.
She doesn't believe in a conspiracy, do you?
What's your conspiracy theory you believe in?
No, I don't really pay much attention to that, to be honest with you.
We landed on the moon?
I believe that we landed. I mean, I do believe that.
Yeah,
I mean,
we landed on the moon.
I don't believe in any of that stuff.
I know there's some
I don't
people
pay
that-
attention to that stuff, honestly. I don't have, I'm doing my things with my kids. I don't really.
I don't worry about anything, to be honest. Whatever it is, my attitude, whatever.
Gee, why did you need to do that?
Well, it's only up to Secret Service. I just follow what they'd like to do. So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say.
Why did they want you to do that?
I guess there was a threat out there. I didn't really ask them much about it. I get a lot of threats.
Somebody's like, pump it up, baby. Say ice, ice, baby. Say ice, ice, baby. Yo, Iceman.
Now that the party is with the bass kicked in and the Vegas all quick to the point, no faking. Cooking them C's like a pounder, burning them, fit quick and nimble. I go crazy when I hear a cymbal and a hi-hat
with a seatbelt tempo.
I don't trust Iran. Why? Are you saying I trust Iran? I'm the last person to trust Iran. They've lied to me constantly. We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it. And at some point, maybe they'll do something and then they get blown away. But right now, we're in a very good position. We have a country that has been the bully of the Middle East for 50 years. It's really 51 if you think about it, right? We've been saying 47 for 4 years. And they're no longer the bully of the Middle East. Thank you very much, everybody.
At the dinner you put on a Trump 23 hat, are you serious about seeking a third term?
Everybody asks me that question, and you know that the law is very strong on that. I'd love to run, but the law is very strong. I get asked by well, even tonight, they're screaming at the event, 2028. No, everybody wants me to do it, but the law is very strong.
duty. Welcome, Patriots, to Patriot News Broadcasting. God bless you. Another beautiful day. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's good to see you. We've got all kinds of stuff to look at today. A really cool video we're going to check out that you might not have seen yet, and all kinds of stuff. And you know, I was thinking about it, and I mean, we know we've talked about it before. All this stuff happening right now, it really isn't for you and me and us. This is stuff we've already seen and learned and talked about, and it's solely there to teach people, I think. And you guys know all that, so chin up, cheer up, and let's look at things and talk about it. I want to talk about Iran for a second and the money situation. Part of me wonders if the whole Iran psyop maybe seeming thing is all about money and the price of things right now and crashing the dollar, which I think is going to happen. I think you're going to see things unfortunately get more expensive between now and midterms, because I think it's all about having that happen around the same time. SG wrote this about Iran. Iran, in the narrow sense of the term, did not try to assassinate President Trump. The shadow state superstructure operating behind the government apparatus in Tehran, having long pulled the strings of military and intel policy and activity in Tehran, Germany, Brazil, France, UK, China, Australia, Canada, Turkey, Israel, Egypt, Ukraine, the Baltics, both Koreas, and more, tried to assassinate President Trump. Remember 2017 over the Pacific Ocean, the rogue missile, Air Force One, Fox 3. We are at war for the destiny of the earth and control of the genome of humanity forever. Bigger than most are willing to imagine or accept. Trust your president. The prize has authentic world peace. And I want to show you what President Trump wrote, because it seems like they're, you know, the illusion on TV is they're back to kind of going at it, I think, over the strait, which I don't think is happening quite how they make it look. We claim to have total control over the strait. They claim to have total control over the strait. So it's, you know, you got people saying, oh, we're getting our ass kicked and running out of ammo. And people saying, we're kicking the shit out of them and they've got nothing left. You got to really be prepared for the media to go full force with their lies. We knew this would happen too. I don't know, as far as what you would call the end of the movie, part of the end of PSYOPs, maybe. It's got to go a little longer. We have to show people all the election fraud and convince them. COVID's convincing a lot of people right now. The 9/11 stuff will do even better. Benghazi, some of that eventually, now that Bill Pulte got rid of the people protecting Brennan and Comey and all these people, we might just see those arrests Juan talked about eventually. Brennan, and then eventually Podesta, which is a marker for where things turn after that. And then they'll really start seeing some shit. I kind of want to look this up real quick. A Wall of Steel. 131. Super Bowl 131. John F. Kennedy 131. The Chosen One 131. It is finished. 131. Planned Pandemic 131. The Eagle has landed. 131. The Golden Key. Don J. Trump 131. Ascended Master 131. Wall of Steel. I think we will keep it. They have no money. Their country is shot. All they have is fake news and 300% inflation. I think we're going to see some hellacious inflation here. Don't quote me on that, but this I meant to announce yesterday. I think it was in the intro. They are making sure that Medicaid no longer funds these gender transition surgeries and hormones for minors. Thank God. Shouldn't be doing that anyway. Medicaid's supposed to be for necessities. It's not supposed to ever have been for cosmetic surgeries. So that's a big thing right there. So really, it was kind of always that way. But this is weird. This is weird. So you got George and Alex Soros sitting there in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's dated today, George Soros's 96th birthday. I found this video I want to show you. It's short about this, which has made it even more interesting to me. Check this out.
The Golden Gate Bridge ritual is approaching. Alex Soros, front of the Golden Gate Bridge. 128 code. 12th day of the 8th month, 128. Golden Age Deception for pointing this out to me. As we've been covering this 128 code, 2023, showing how the 128 is connected to the Golden Gate Bridge collapse, Omega event, 2024, which could land on 1028, February 18th. The towers collapsed at 1028, 128. Francis Scott Key Bridge, 128 in the morning. Bridge collapse in Gematria is 128. Even the presidential alert code. I've had about 3 predictions and 2 of them have come true. And my crazy prediction was the Golden Gate to be a torpedo to go towards it via North Korea. But the gate, this is very symbolic. George Soros being 96 or the 69, it's the egg, it's the keystone for Cancer. And then you can see the sun and moon and all these solar, stellar, astrological. This is the gateway. Here is the gateway arch. It's the portal or the gateway, very symbolic. So the Golden Gate, it's the Golden Gateway portal, and it is connected to finance in a lot of ways. The Golden Gate Bridge is on a body of water named the Golden Gate. So it goes into currency. Could it be connected to a currency collapse, as George Soros did currency collapse manipulation? And we're hearing a lot about a golden age. So it seems to be esoteric and symbolic, as the sun, gold, and silver is the moon. And we just had an eclipse today while he posted this picture of the sun, his dad, who's known for money, the moon, the Mooney. So I'm thinking that this is even more symbolic, where it is the sun eclipsing the moon. So it's like a solar eclipse happening on the solar frickin' eclipse today on the 128 code. In Gematria, bridge collapse equals 128. A bridge collapsed on 128 and another one collapsed at 128. I mean, come on. Even the tower collapsed 128 at 1028. I mean, that's where I learned it. I learned this from Tommy Truthful, and I was like, that's nuts, the 128 code. And I've been diving into it. But we're under the dog star. Today's the helical rising of Sirius. And as you can see, Sirius, they have the dog that passed away in 9/11. And at the movie theaters right now, they're showing the commercial for this movie to come out, The Dog Stars, connected to the Sirius of the Helical Rising of Sirius. So all this going on is an alchemical occult ritual. Please hit that subscribe button. Please put your comments down below.
You can't make that shit up. I'm telling you, they've been giving us comms about the Golden Gate Bridge for a solid year at least. We've been saying it seems like that thing's going to go down. There is more to it all. Finance, he said that there's some trafficking stuff related to it too, if I'm not mistaken. The yellow brick road stuff, I believe they call it. I don't know. It goes deep, but and then in Gematria 128, I don't know. It's wild. It's weird. There's something to it. I don't know what it is, but so last night we saw a few different things. This could be some good news for New York. Bruce Blakeman could unseat Kathy Hochul and turn New York red. Wouldn't that be something for what they're dealing with currently? I wanted to add, what's her face? The one that was trying to get rid of our holidays. Things didn't go anywhere for her. What'd I do with the picture? There it is. Francesca Hong. She lost. So there was that. Unfortunately, though, Mike Lindell was in that category too. He didn't want to concede at first, but I believe he did eventually concede. You saw the... I'll come back to that. The earthquake in Colombia... Saw all kinds of weird stuff about that. The death toll is up to 240, and of course, there's still lots of people missing. You saw that weird video about the balloons in the intro. Not sure what that's about. It happened the same day that the government announced its recognition of Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights are Syrian territory occupied by Israel since 1967. UN Resolution 497 declared Israel's annexation null and void, but it's important for Colombia to declare it to Israel. I don't know where that ties in. It very well could if it pissed off the wrong people, I suppose. Maybe not. Maybe it's a total stretch. There are some wild videos coming out of Colombia. I'll show you later if you want. We have time. This was really big that I kind of glossed over yesterday when talking about this with Syria and how they sentenced Bashar al-Assad to death, and this, how they cleared the Trump administration to come in and remove or store nuclear material at the covert site. It goes right back to that Q post that says one of the other places that they sent uranium from Uranium One was Syria. So it is a very big deal. Where did the Uranium One material end up? What if material ended up in Syria too, not just Iran? What would be the primary purpose? Sum of all fears. That's awesome. Sum of all fears, I think, if anything, would be the end of the movie. If you're looking for an actual end of the movie, whatever the sum of all fears stuff happens, that standoff, and end of it, and everyone goes to peace type of thing, I think that would be the end of the movie in PsyOps, and then things will change in a different way. It will happen. I mean, don't lose hope. Things are moving perfectly. my animal lovers had to point this out. California's top federal prosecutor announced a $5,000 reward for tips regarding violations of the Federal Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture Act, aiming to crack down on the violence against dogs on Skid Row. I like that there are people paying attention to the animals. Colonel Douglas McGregor posted this. Federal judge rules that undisclosed investigative documents on Jeffrey Epstein can now be publicly released. I'm not sure entirely what that entails because I haven't seen anything on the news about it. And, you know, McGregor tends to post things before they happen. I mean, he posted about the Wiener laptop would be big in the news soon. That hasn't quite happened yet, but maybe it will. Good night, Frankie. I also saw this, which is kind of confusing to me. The Pentagon launches new Golden Dome hub, inviting defense contractors and tech companies and researchers to submit ideas for the $185 billion missile defense program. I don't know. I guess I was under the impression that they had that all figured out and planned and ready how they were going to do it or whatever. This kind of seems to make it sound otherwise. So thought I'd point that out. This is insane. Cook County. The state's attorney admits that murder suspects on electronic monitoring get 2 unmonitored free to roam days. What the hell is a free to roam day? Is that like, let's let them go and hope they don't kill anybody day? I mean, seriously? Yeah, let's let the murderers roam for 2 days. You get 2 of those, you know. In a recent interview, State's Attorney Eileen O'Neill Burke confirmed that Illinois law requires a minimum of 2 free-to-roam days each week for people on electronic monitoring. During those days, they're not tracked. What the is the point? She said 87 defendants charged with murder or attempted murder are currently on electronic monitoring in Cook County. And they get 2 free-to-roam days every week. Another 181 are charged with sexual assault. Roughly 10 to 12% of the more than 3,200 people supposed to be on monitoring are missing. That means over 300 are AWOL right now. I mean, wow. Burke called the entire system broken and said it needs a legislative fix. No shit. She noted the very violent people are out committing new violent crimes on their free-to-roam time. This is what soft on crime policies look like in practice. I'd say somebody needs to kick somebody's ass. I don't know. Governor Pritzker, Mayor Johnson. I don't know. That's insane. I had never heard that in my life. I know people, or did years ago here in this part of Illinois, that were on electronic monitoring, and I never heard them getting free to roam days. Never anything of the sort. Like, you leave your house and they're on you around here. So I don't know what that's about. That's news to me, but Cook County, it never seems to surprise me. Robert Kennedy Jr. is going nuclear over Los Angeles' homeless agency as the feds threaten to cut off $240 million. I don't know if that's in response to the announcement from Mayor Bass yesterday that they want to invest in tiny homes for the homeless, which seems like a ridiculous proposal to me. I mean, I'm not saying it's like the worst of proposals, considering the billions they had to spend on homeless issues in California, and they never did. Now they've got this money, and I don't know if that's the tiny home money. How many tiny homes can you build for that kind of money? Does it even begin to solve the problem? I have no clue. But he's on it. So we'll see how that progresses. This is like the most ridiculous story I ever heard. They were first talking about this woman the other day saying she moved like a robot standing behind the president. Then they said she had a button fitted on her belly that she presses every time the president nods off and it zaps him away. I mean, seriously, this poor girl, and she puts, "I'm just pregnant, you weirdos." Like, that's kind of the news and shit right now. It's kind of stuff you wouldn't believe the stuff they're putting out on the left to rip on Trump right now. It's full blown fake, ridiculous. I'll show you the video. I didn't think she moved like a robot. I mean, maybe if you like zoomed in and made it that way, but I got another video I gotta show you, a quick short one. It makes me think other things might be happening that are good.
Trump's aide, Jamie Franklin, is going viral as the robotic zapper. It seemed like she was giving Trump awake by tapping on her stomach to give him an electric shock or some kind of boost to keep him up, because people are saying that he's starting to fall asleep a lot more often than he was in his first term. Now, do you think that she's really tapping on her stomach to keep him awake by a little shock or a little zap? Now, she came out and said she wasn't. She was actually pregnant. And people are calling her an AI, a robot, or a cyborg, because she was seen at an Oval Office press conference just nodding along throughout the whole meeting to everything that was being said, as if she was an AI robot taking in as much information as she could. Now, she turned out to be a real person that's supposedly in charge of a conservative company. And it seemed like all the jokes that Trump made about Biden being Sleepy Joe and about being old age is starting to catch up with him, because people are starting.
For crying out loud. He wasn't asleep. But yeah, I gotta show you Jasmine Crockett real quick. Look at this video of her heading to her Jimmy Kimmel appearance. What's she wearing?
Who's that this?
It looks like prison clothes. Where's she coming from? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but...
Who's that this? Who's this?
I don't know. You know, I picture people going to Jimmy Kimmel or, getting all fancied up or something. It just was weird to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Somebody shared it. Thought it was weird. I know a lot of you, were without power for some part of yesterday and today because of the storms, and a lot of you in the exact same area got hit again today. So I bet that was fun. I did not get anything yet down here, so, but yep. Wild weather we've been having. We've actually set a record in Illinois, I believe. This was interesting too. World Health Organization warehouse destroyed in Dnipro, Ukraine. The World Health Organization had already begun evacuations. Who destroyed it, I wonder? Maybe Russia, maybe us. Maybe we planned to destroy it. I don't know. I'm just throwing some weird ideas out there. Maybe she got her free day. Maybe that's it, Starfire. She didn't have to go through her electronic monitoring. She's out. Free to roam, bitch. No. I'm sorry, that sounds so ghetto. That sounds only in Chicago. Oh yeah, murderers got free roam days here. You know, I got roaming days, don't you know? I let mine add up. I've got like 10 roaming now. The judges are Obama judges, of course, trying to block the Postal Service from implementing part of Trump's mail-in voting executive order, where they had agreed that they would go along with it. I'm telling you, they just sent another mail-in ballot to my house with my name on it, and all you have to do is check this box on there and sign it, and you're forever a mail-in voter. Anybody can get a hold of that. Check it. I mean, it says you can put what address you want it sent to on the little card. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. They're like asking for fraud here in Illinois with mail-in voting. Pardon this, but this was given to 5-year-olds in Colorado during a sex ed lesson that I swear I've never heard in my life of 5-year-olds getting a sex education. But what the actual... I mean, this is sick. It's sick. The person who puts that in front of a 5-year-old should go behind bars. Do you not agree? The person who puts that in front of a 5-year-old should be behind bars. Speaking of schools, University of Michigan's not going to give you letter grades anymore, A, B, C, D, or A, B, C, D, F. Part of the mental health crisis unfolding. Everybody's so fragile there at the University of Michigan. They don't, they're afraid if you see an F or a D, and you might just get too upset. And I don't even know. It's the stupidest thing I've heard of. You're turning the college kids into pansies and trying to turn your 5-year-olds into perverts. And you saw this in the intro. In Milwaukee, the election officials are blaming human error after 5 of the 9 USB drives turned out to not have any election results on them when they showed up. I'm sure there's nothing fishy going on there. They'll just run back and get them. Oh, Milwaukee. Get on it. This story came out. This guy has been running around Bernalillo County in New Mexico. They have no idea who he is. He's not been identified or arrested. They're trying to find him and figure out why he's running around with a very large rifle. No good's going to come of that situation, I have a feeling. He's staring right at a camera. That's so weird, isn't it? People are off right now, I'm telling you. People are out of their minds. Speaking of, here's another one. Amber Thompson, an openly transgender activist, is running for the Area 4 seat on Ventura Unified School District Board of Education in California. She's got a lot of support there in Ventura. And will have, authority over policies affecting students, parents, teachers, classrooms, libraries. This is the kind of stuff they're telling you should pay attention to in your own communities. Who's occupying school board seats, city council seats? If we don't pay attention to that, this is what we're going to get. It's kind of on us now. Scientists discovered that ticks don't jump on you. They fly onto you. No, they use static electricity, actually. They literally get zapped onto you and everything else. I think there's a animation.
All right, guys, this on the tick. This one, you can see here on the move. And I want to point out, you've got one on this piece of grass right here on the tip. Sitting right there on the tip of this. Now, what's crazy is here's another one. Down here at a spot where humans frequent, these things have set up shop on the very tips of grass, looking to latch on to humans. This act of them sitting there waiting is called questing. And what scientists are saying now happens is when people go by very near to the object, the static electricity will pull the tick into the area toward the human. They can't jump. That's not how it works. They're actually pulled on through this wave of static electricity, and they're saying they've proven it, and that this is why people see so many when they walk through one little area. So it's very true. These bloodsuckers can fly through the air without wings, and they're using physics to do it. Other people have argued they see these things running at them. I've seen it myself, and it's almost like they're attracted to your human frequency, to be honest. But this is how they're attaching to people very easily. I want people to be aware. There's an explosion of this going on around here. A ton of different ideas as what's going on. If they're dropping...
I kind of wonder how that works exactly. Be cool if humans could do that, right? Zip. But I thought it was kind of a cool little discovery. Ticks attracted to your frequency. Scientists in India are trying to figure out what's making this water pool do this for 5 straight days, nonstop. I'm guessing it's the wind. I'm not a scientist, though. Strong wind hitting the microphone, but they say it's been doing that for 5 straight days non-stop, and they can't figure out why. It's interesting, the difference between what scientists are up to, the ticks, the pool. I just hear that wind and I'm like, I don't know, it could be something else, maybe the earthquake, but I mean, any type of quake activity would be triggered, so I don't know. Clearly it's not that. That'd be easy to figure out. So I don't know. Maybe it's waves they can't detect and they'll have an earthquake soon. I don't know. Or it's just the wind. SG Anon, in case you missed it, the U.S. Office of the Comptroller of Currency has recently issued approval for digital asset firms to charter themselves as national trust banks. I don't know what that means exactly. I know somebody was talking about Trump's trying to get like a gigantic investment in AI that would make the value of our money go down and make inflation go up. But I think that's where they're trying to do on purpose to crash the dollar. I don't know. Juan will talk about it sooner or later. If not, we'll ask him about it. Federal law enforcement just busted a massive decade-long green card fraud ring in New York City where 1,000 fake weddings were held to get Chinese nationals green cards. Amazing, huh? Each one costed up to $100,000, and participant U.S. citizens were paid $30,000 to help. 10 suspects were arrested, charged with conspiracy to commit marriage fraud, immigration document fraud, and conspiracy to encourage the lawful residence of aliens. Amazing. We need to purge the green card rolls. Yeah, apparently we do. We're having enough problems just purging the voter rolls, and then you got drunken Kamala Harris coming out and saying, they're trying to kick you off. They don't want you to vote. They're just kicking people off the rolls. Bullshit. We can't even get a hold of the rolls. You know, it's ridiculous. Argentina joins a U.S.-led coalition declaring no international right to abortion. A U.S.-led coalition of 40 countries that declare there's no right to abortion. Argentina was the first country to join the coalition. That's pretty cool. Meanwhile, over here, they're fighting for abortion. Governor Healy in Massachusetts signed that law expanding abortion until birth in Massachusetts. This is a loophole. The new law allows a physician to authorize an abortion later in pregnancy based on his or her professional medical judgment. This is a loophole that they're using in some manner so they can have their abortions. Wouldn't want to stop that. Good Lord, shame on your governor, Massachusetts. Gotta get rid of that woman. The Department of Justice is suing New York, Connecticut, and Vermont over giving in-state college tuition to illegal immigrants. Go figure. I wonder if we'll see some cool schools, particular schools, called out and in trouble for that. Elon Musk inquired about purchasing the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Of course he did. I actually wouldn't surprise me if he did do that. I could see it. Meanwhile, at the same time, this story came up again in a little more depth about the employee at a British radio station that came across these pre-recorded files intended for use in the event of King Charles's death. And out of curiosity, the employee played them, not realizing it was going over the air, which I have no idea how you could be that unknowing in that business unless you just like the janitor or something and don't know what you're doing. But anyway, then the employee ran away and left the station off the air for 16 minutes. So people heard the message saying he was dead, and it was just dead air for like 15 minutes. Oh, I already showed that one. Well, that's a story worth showing twice. Here's it's been a couple of days, but another crash. Military helicopter crash in Salado, Texas. Killed both people on board. It was said to have been a violent crash, and it's caused a wildfire south of Fort Hood that's not been contained yet. So I don't know. There's another one. What's making all these go down? Cupo says 7 out of 10 accidents are not accidents. So what are we seeing happening? Are we seeing very particular hits, or are they just accidents? This mysterious aircraft was spotted flying over McConnell Air Force Base in Kansas, fueling speculation that it might be a rare glimpse of our costly top secret B-21 Raider stealth bomber. Let's take a look at the video.
Oh, damn. Is that a B-21? What is that?
What do you guys think? I don't know. It's definitely a bomber, but could it be the B-21? An airport caught fire near Fullerton, California. So there was that as well in the world of aviation. In Washington State, a women-only spa is officially asking the Supreme Court to protect the privacy of the women and teenage girls that use the place. Olympus Spa, a traditional Korean bathhouse in Washington State, has filed a petition asking the Supreme Court to hear its year-long legal battle over its women-only admission policy. Women and girls as young as 13 are required to be completely unclothed in portions of the facility. The dispute began after a man who claims to be transgender filed a discrimination complaint over the spa's policy limiting entry to only biological women. The Washington State Human Rights Commission pressured the owners to remove the policy and affirm access regardless of gender identity. So you have a man that wants to be a woman around unclothed 13-year-old girls. It's a problem. Oh, already looked at that. All right, let's see if anything else has come up here. I've got a cool video I'm going to show you guys after we finish with this. I think I went through everything I've got. Carolyn Leavitt's leaving her post at the end of August as press secretary. I'm kind of keen to see who they'll get next. No, it won't be Marco Rubio. Poor man. That poor man. There's that bomber. $700 million plane. Holy cow. I think I just died a little inside. $700 million. Federal court just ruled against Planned Parenthood in a blow that could eventually cost the organization close to $2 billion. It's incredible news. No mercy to the baby killers. They were caught taking Medicaid dollars in Texas and Louisiana despite being banned from doing so. This comes after Secretary Kennedy canceled even more grants to Planned Parenthood at the federal level. Going down. Do. President Trump posted this again about daylight savings and update. The vast majority of Americans have asked to make it permanent. I'm proud to announce that the House has passed the bill and it's gone to the Senate. People are sick and tired of having to change their clocks twice a year. It's foolish, inconvenient, and costly. He is trying to convince some of the Republicans and Democrats to pass the Sunshine Protection Act, as they're calling it. Oh, there's a meteor shower tonight. Look up for one of the best meteor showers of the year. Peaks from midnight to dawn, and the timing is perfect. The Perseids are peaking under a new moon, meaning virtually no moonlight will wash out the show. Might be some clouds though. Roughly 500 to 100 meteors per hour, or 50 to 100 meteors per hour are possible under ideal conditions. That'd be cool. I'll have to take a look. What do we got here?
All of it is possible thanks to the blood and tears and courage and vision of the Americans who came before. Think of this Capitol. Think of this very chamber where lawmakers before you voted to end slavery, to build the railroads and the highways, and defeat fascism, to secure civil rights, and to face down evil empires. Here tonight, we have legislators from across this magnificent republic. You have come from the rocky shores of Maine and the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, from the snowy woods of Wisconsin and the red deserts of Arizona, from the green farms of Kentucky and the golden beaches of California. Together we represent the most extraordinary nation in all of history. What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? I ask the men and women of this Congress, look at the opportunities before us. Our most thrilling achievements are still ahead. Our most exciting journeys still await. Our biggest victories are still to come. We have not yet begun to dream. We must choose whether we are defined by our differences or whether we dare to transcend them. We must choose whether we squander our great inheritance or whether we proudly declare that we are Americans. We do the incredible. We defy the impossible. We conquer the unknown. This is the time to reignite the American imagination. This is the time to search for the tallest summit and set our sights on the brightest star. This is the time to rekindle the bonds of love and loyalty and memory that link us together as citizens, as neighbors, as patriots. This is our future, our fate, and our choice to make. I am asking you to choose greatness. No matter the trials we face, no matter the challenges to come, we must go forward together. We must keep America first in our hearts. We must keep freedom alive in our souls. And we must always keep faith in America's destiny. That one nation, under God, must be the hope and the promise and the light and the glory among all the nations of the world. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Sorry, it was too good to stop. It was good. All of that was exactly right. Exactly perfect. What do we do with this moment? It's up to us as well. I thought the Patriot games last night were exciting. I wish I'd been that kind of patriot when I was in high school. That's cool. All right, looking for news. Any more news? News. Where are my news people? If not, I've got a good video I'm going to show you. I saw that. Fox's John Roberts saying he developed pericarditis after his third COVID shot, and it got worse after the fourth. If the third one was bad, why would you take a fourth one? Ridiculous. Okay, I think we saw all this news. The Uranium One deal, that's going to be amazing. Everything's going forward exactly as it should be. Exciting times. Anything else here? Mark Rubio was talking about how he doesn't eat very healthy and that he eats Pop-Tarts and he's not very maha. As posted by Secretary Kennedy. You gotta love it. The debt to wealth revolution. Pay attention. Total solar eclipse, new moon in Leo, planetary lineup, Perseids near the peak. His famous quote often attributed to J.P. Morgan, millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do. I don't know much about all that. Definitely don't trust the people's voice. Sorry. All kinds of cool things you can do with baking soda. All right. Anything else? We saw the rest of the Poverty Center. That was awesome looking. Their eclipse. I mean, ours was pretty cool, but that was awesome. This is from Spain. Pretty cool, huh? But that was awesome today. We saw that about the currency. Robert Gilman's home. He spent 4 years detained in Russia. President Trump got him home. All right. Let's go to our video now. I want to show you. I think you'll like one of our favorites. It's not super long. And then we'll talk after their message.
All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. What could we see come November? Everyone's one storm posts hitting social media with General Flynn, Elon Musk, Trump kind of co-signing and all this is getting crazy. Now, we went into a lot of detail on Nino's Corner.tv and talked about this with Joshua Reed. Joshua Reed joins me now from redpills.tv. Josh, man, I mean, look, we're both reading the tea leaves here. I've had SGN on. I've had Juan. Everyone gives their tidbit. They give a piece to the puzzle, right, to create the bigger picture. I kind of feel like Trump is going to declare a national security emergency coming into these midterms, but could the midterms still run and happen? And then SG kind of believes that's when things happen afterwards. That's when things go wonky, is going to be during or right afterwards, because no one's going to pay attention to the national security emergency. There's a lot of speculation here. I want to get your point of view from this, but we all can agree chaos, right, Josh? There's going to be some kind of civil unrest.
So I think that there's going to be something happening here around the September-October timeframe. Let's back up a little bit. We talked about the Save America Act for the longest time and how Trump has been pushing the Save America Act through the Senate, various different House bills to push it into the Senate. John Thune obviously withholding this from a Senate vote, right?
Well, hold on. You said save. You know what you should be saving?
What's that?
Gold, baby. Oh, yeah. You should be saving gold. AI is getting smarter every day. So are the hackers using it. Your bank account, your retirement, your retirement, your savings, all sitting on a server protected by a password AI can crack in just seconds. How much of your wealth exists only as a number on the screen? You need something AI can't touch, folks. Noble Gold is it. Noble Gold Investments helps Americans secure physical gold held in your hand or in a tax-advantaged retirement account. You need this. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com now. Noble Gold Investments, and get started in an increasingly digital world. Own something real, right? Okay, how'd you like that? Am I getting better at my segues?
That was good, Nino. That was good.
Go for it.
All right. But we've been hearing a lot about the Save America Act. And the reason why Donald Trump was pushing this so much, he knew it was never going to get passed in the Senate. Okay. We knew that once he turned on Corn and all of these guys, Tillis, this was not going to happen. And that's fine. I don't think that they want the Save America Act to happen, because if you start to look at this, if the Save America Act got put into place, this would have been fought by massive amounts of lawfare from various different judges and from people like Mark Elias that would have came in and immediately shut it down. So to the point where it would never have been implemented before the midterm elections. We can understand
that. At least look like he's made an effort and he's showing the people that he's trying to go
exactly
the judicial route first.
You have to show the people that, hey, look, we made a valiant effort to get this in place prior to the election. So what happens? You have Donald Trump addressing the nation a few weeks ago. He comes out there, he mentions China and says, hey, this is what happened. And people are like, well, that's not like the smoking gun, but if you look at it, it's the legal predicate. Bannon said this. I said this. We said this well before. I've been saying this for a year, that this was going to happen, that you're going to have information come out that's going to become the legal predicate for a national emergency on election integrity and infrastructure. We knew that we were waiting for the DNI report to come out, and this came out after Tulsi. A lot of the work was done by Tulsi, but we had Pulte actually came out and released this to Trump. And so Trump takes this. Now he has a legal predicate. What does that mean? He can declare a national emergency through means of national security on election integrity and infrastructure. And if you go into what that whole thing was about, you start to see that this was a matter of national security. Now, why this is important? This is going to allow, when the national emergency comes into place, the post office to begin implementing certain processes through Trump's executive orders and through the National Emergency Declaration that are going to help secure the mail-in ballot side of the elections. It's not going to change any of the state laws. It's not going to do anything improper with anything on the state levels. What it's simply going to do is say, hey, that information has to match what the United States Postal Service actually has in our database. That is huge, because if you remember, certain things were happening in different elections that we've had throughout our country, to where ballots were being thrown all over the place, or at least that's what was being reported. So,
and by the way, folks, Josh and I are keeping it very much G-rated for
yes, I'm dancing around. I'm dancing around certain things here. But so what is this going to do? Well, you had General Flynn that came out and put out a storm post. His storm post was a warning about the rise of communism in our country and the potential outfall that we could have due to the things that are coming. Now, we got Joe DeGeneva in the Southern District of Florida. We got Jason Redding-Quiones, the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of Florida. There's two grand juries operating right there. We just had Todd Blanche confirmed by the Senate. This, I believe, was the marker that everybody was waiting for. That confirmation is very specific. He's now can subpoena various different types of classified information being held by the FBI for release to these grand juries. That could bring about various different unseals prior to the midterm elections, which is going to bring upheaval because once they realize that the deep state is being targeted, this is an all-go situation for them. I think we're moving into potential scorched earth theory to where you get the protests that happen in the streets. What are they going to be protesting? They're going to be protesting the idea that many people have said that Donald Trump is going to try to take the 2026 midterms by force, right?
So they're going to use the MSN. That's what they have left right now, right? The MSN, all the media, they're going to use that to spin the narrative that Trump is trying to take the election, turn him into the bad guy once again, and that's when they're going to flood the streets with their soldiers.
That's right. And I don't even know if it's going to be flooding the streets with their soldiers. I mean, be honest, Nino, we could see just about anything. I mean, you could have a terrorist attack. You could have something that, attacks on the, and I'm being very hypothetical here. I want people to understand that, is that we could see basically anything you can think of. If you can imagine, because we talked about this on Nino's Corner, that we're watching the end of the Democratic Party. This is the end of the Democratic Party, which means that they know that this election is the last election that they have to basically save face, to save their party, to allow it to move forward. And if they don't make moves prior to that they are done. So they have to.
So they're a cornered cat. They're going to have to come out fighting.
That's exactly right.
The only way to do it, if Trump declares the national security emergency and puts forth these executive orders, the only way to do it would be scorched earth. Because that's their last option.
That's right. Do you know who Ray Dalio is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Ray Dalio, anybody that doesn't know, he's a big global figure. He's the CEO of Bridgewater Capital, massive hedge fund, $17 billion worth of money flows through that hedge fund every year. He wrote a book back in 2019, 2020 called The New World Order. And on the interviews of the book, he was talking about the 2024 election. He said, look, he goes, it doesn't matter what happens during the 2024 election. He goes, if the Democrats win, there's going to be a civil war because the Republicans will never believe it. If the Republicans win, there's going to be a civil war because the Democrats are not going to believe it. Now, I want people to start applying that same mentality because that's obviously not what happened, but it did set the premise for that to start occurring. Start setting that up for the 2026 midterms because that is a right assessment of what he was talking about. Because we're just so divided right now as a nation with the left and the right that this is going to draw in this whole construct. Go ahead.
When you look at it, the phases of this operation that I like to call it is, at first it was, you saw the nuclear sniffers coming out when Trump got in, and then the ICE raids came, right? He started, and I believe he was neutralizing threats. Well, USAID defunding them, and then the ICE raids taking down what I believe the cartels, the violent criminals, the immigrants that were going to be used to be activated for such a time as the midterms. I believe that those were the ICE raids, and then we took down Maduro. We went into Iran. All of this is step by step neutralizing threats. Do you believe that we have neutralized enough, or do you think there's some wild cards out there, which I believe there is, that are going to be activated for such a time as this?
Yes, there's big wild cards out there right now, and actually it's active on the whole global playing field, whether it was Venezuela or Iran or Ukraine. That is very, very active, and this is what the storm warnings are actually talking about. China's influence when it comes to how they are operating through proxy with what they consider to be the doctrine of unrestricted warfare. This is very important. I mean, they don't go out there and have their military actively engage people economically or socially or through information warfare domains. They do it through proxy. So about 4 weeks ago, we saw Neville Roy Singham, who is a tech billionaire who lives in Beijing, heavily influenced by the CCP. He owns massive amounts of NGOs and various organizations. He helped fund a lot of these lefty organizations. I mean, he was the one behind the ICE protests. He's the one funding the No Kings protests. He was just subpoenaed by a grand jury in New York, which means that they're trying to take down this whole operation. And this is what we mean by proxy warfare through the doctrine of unrestricted warfare being done by China. That's one example. There's massive amounts of other examples. Iran. Why does Iran want to prolong this war till 2029 and wait it out with Donald Trump? Well, the reason is because they're actually setting Donald Trump up to utilize more military engagement, because China is gathering all different types of intelligence and analysis on U.S. military strategies, methodologies, targeting scenarios, various
right. With a lot of a lot of my guests, Juan, including one of them, says we are on a trajectory for kinetic warfare with China.
100%. And if you ask any general in the Pentagon, they will say within the next 5 years, that is a absolute 100% possibility that is going to come about. And this is what people like General Flynn are warning about with the storm, because a lot of what we're seeing in the psychological domain, the information influence domain, this is actually derived through these operations being done through proxy by a certain country. But it's not really a certain country. It's a certain ideology of which that country conforms to. And that ideology is the kind of the constraint on the world right now. It's what's happening in Europe. It's what's happening within the liberal left here in the United States.
So, I had Patrick Byrne on just the other day on NinosCorner.tv, and we talked about the 100-year plan for China to take over America completely by the year 2049. And we discussed, what their plans were with camps, and not summer camps, folks, but camps in America where people will be heading not for fun, not to get some sunshine, but, that they had this all mapped out and planned. And then they had to when Trump won, they had to speed forward their plan to 2020, get Biden in there. And then when they did that, they had to speed forward with the boogeyman that came out in 2020 where everyone got sick. You know what I'm saying, folks?
Yep.
It all had to speed up. They had to go warp speed on all this, and they fumbled the ball. Now they're kind of in no man's land. They still have their plan to take over America, but before 2049, but it's all been sped up, correct, Josh? Like, we are now on a collision course with China. They're not going to slow down. We're not going to slow down. The gig is up. They know, we all know what's coming. And I think that it's going to be after these November that things are really going to kick off, right?
Yeah. So there's one important part to look at when you're looking at what I call the silent Cold War with China and the United States. And that is a variable that wasn't in play a decade ago. It wasn't in play when China came out with their 100-year plan, but it is absolutely in play right now. And that's artificial intelligence. Right now, you have two countries competing for superiority within artificial intelligence. And that is a move towards what's known as artificial superintelligence, an intelligence that is far greater than all human minds combined. And whoever obtains it first is going to win the war. Why? Because whoever obtains it first is going to be light years ahead of any of their competition, no matter how close their competition was to them. Now, there's three base core fundamentals when it comes to artificial intelligence: data, compute, and power or energy. Donald Trump knew this coming into 2024. He knew this when he began implementing his national security strategy and his national defense strategy. The move on Maduro, you got to remember, China had three legs of energy independence globally: Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. That's where they got about 60% of their global oil through. During 2022, they renegotiated various different deals with Saudi Arabia and other OPEC nations to basically clear all of their oil transactions in the Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar. What happened when Donald Trump came in? He got Saudi Arabia and a defense cooperation agreement, and they dropped the Chinese yuan. You can still clear through it, but the dollar is back in the play. But also with that defense cooperation agreement, if there's any kinetic engagement between the U.S. and China, the U.S. has the ability to proxy sanction China on oil through Saudi Arabia and other OPEC nations. That's really important. Now you go into Venezuela. He goes in, takes out Maduro, and we have all of Venezuelan oil now being redirected to the southern United States. China said, we'll never buy oil from the U.S. Well, guess what? They're buying over $380 billion worth of oil from the southern United States. It's Venezuelan oil, but it's going through the United States proxy. We took back the Panama Canal. That's a key logistical area that opened up the Belt and Roads Initiative to Central and South America, which Donald Trump has also began to dismantle from out China. Now we have the Strait of Hormuz and Iran. Iran, another key clutch position for Chinese energy independence, and Donald Trump has basically shut that down. He also showed China that he can shut down the Strait of Hormuz because accessibility to the resources
and bring it back to the Gulf of America.
That's right. It's another key component here is the control of the accessibility of energy. So why does that matter? Because there's two different areas that are very strategic for China to get all of their supply chain. And China can't close off their border and be completely okay. They're dependent upon other nations. That's the Strait of Taiwan and the Strait of Malacca. If Donald Trump shut down the Strait of Malacca, if he sanctioned Chinese oil, China has less than 100 days to last in a warfare situation. They would lose by attrition alone. They know this. So their methodology is simply proxy warfare means because it's the only way that they can gain an advantage. Russia is the big variable, but Russia is a distant third in any of this competitive race towards artificial superintelligence, which means that Russia is most likely going to align with the top leading competitor whoever's winning or they deem is going to be the winner.
So in other words, we're waiting kind of in the shadows to see who gets ahead, and then bam, they're going to jump.
That's right. And so it's been head to head for a long time. But the good news is that we're winning. That the United States is actually moving forth a lot faster than China. We've caused them to basically defer a lot of that growth, and that happened because of Venezuela. That happened because of Iran.
The way I see it is like they were on the goal line getting ready to score a touchdown, and they fumbled the ball. We got the ball, ran it in for a touchdown. That's where that's
exactly it.
Right, dude? That's the way I see it, man. Like they were on the goal, they were on the 1 yard line, getting ready to get it in for a touchdown, and game over, dude. Everyone thought the game was over. Fumble the ball, boom, Trump picks it up and runs it in for a touchdown. Now we have the ball, we tied the game, whatever. It's crazy where we're at in this game right now, right, Josh? I mean, is that the best analogy? I think that's the best.
It is. You're absolutely right. Is that they were one move from checkmate, and we came back and took all their pawns, and we're sitting there taking all their great pieces right now.
Literally injured their quarterback on the fumble and took the ball and ran it in for a touchdown. Like really, that's what happened, folks.
So we're coming into a situation now to where color revolutions become a possibility, to where things like rising up in the streets of various different ideologies become.
But aren't they all being tracked and traced right now, man? I mean, AI flock cameras, a lot of flock cameras are going up. I think the reason they're going up is for this exact reason, to track everyone on the streets. Folks, I know a lot of people are mad about the flock cameras, but I think Trump's letting them go because why? They're going to be tracking and tracing everybody who's on the streets, the protests, the whole thing. Don't you think so? That's what I think. I think that's why they're being put up everywhere, because we know what's coming.
That type of technology is a double-edged sword.
Right.
It's good in the context of what you're talking about. It's bad in the context that they're following little old grandma.
Doesn't that make sense to you? Because that's what I thought about this. I'm like, maybe they're setting up these cameras because they know what's coming and they got to track and trace everybody. I don't know.
Do you remember during the 2020 time frame that the White House brought out something known as contact tracing?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. During that whole time. Yeah.
So that same technology directly integrates into the flock camera system.
Oof. Man,
Not only that is that flock cameras can do partial AI facial recognition, which means that you could have a mask on like this. And what it's doing is it's cross-correlating that contact ping from your phone with other CCTV cameras, other flock cameras that they've used in the past into a database, and it'll pull up that MEID out of that and then bring a cross analysis with that cross section of your facial recognition to bring it about what you actually look like. So number one is there's no hiding from this level of technology. That's a good thing for when we talk about what's coming, but it's a very, very dangerous thing for afterwards when we start to look at sovereignty and freedom. And I think that these things are
a lot of people,
we got to fight them.
A lot of people argue, well, you have nothing to worry about if you're not a criminal, right? Which makes a lot of sense, right? Only criminals would really worry about being tracked and traced, right? Maybe, but what determines who's a criminal or not? That's where You give an inch, they take a mile. The next thing you know, oh, you don't have a good social credit score. We saw you out 2 blocks away from your house. You know, you're out of this particular region. You shouldn't be in that other region. You should be in your region. You know, with social credit scores coming and the whole thing. That's what they're setting up for. That's exactly what
they're setting up for pre-crime.
Pre-crime. Yes, and that's and you know, right now, you know, for a lot of people, like, well, I feel safe. I feel safer like this. Well, just wait until they determine that you're a criminal because you're late on your bills or whatever. Or look what they're doing with the vehicles, dude. You now face analysis to start your car. I mean, the new 2027 vehicles that are coming out. I mean, there's going to be no privacy. So I'm really hoping, Josh, and I'll end with this, that the 10 days of darkness, the watch the water stuff is all about the data centers. I hope it is, because we need to unplug from that shit. And I hope that's what we really are going to do. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that a lot of the information coming about the data centers is actually Chinese influence operations, because the data centers are what are going to lead us to actually beat China in that war of artificial superintelligence. And that is unfortunate.
Yeah, but as long as they can keep using China as the boogeyman, they'll keep building these damn things.
Don't get me wrong. Here's the thing about data centers. They are an interim solution. And the reason I say that is because within the next 5 years, data centers will be in space. And they are already being formulated to be in space. You just have
or in the oceans. In the oceans, right? That's the best cooling system right there.
It's going to be space. Space has been picked for this proxy. I believe the oceans as well, but actually, it's going to be more expensive to keep them and maintain them in the ocean than it actually is in space.
Put them in Alaska. Put them in Antarctica, right?
True, but you know, space is going to be it, because it's going to be this decentralized kind of domain. Elon is already doing this, and within the next 5 years, 90% of data centers will actually be moving into space.
Josh, love having you on, bro. You bring the fire, homie. Thank you for joining me, folks. Go to ninoscorner.tv right now. We just did an awesome episode there, and redpills.tv. Josh, appreciate you, bro. Stay with me just one moment.
Take care, brother.
I don't know. You know, we can make energy cheaper in the future. And as far as the data center goes, maybe future technology will find ways to make it even smaller to store certain amounts of data. I don't know. They have talked about space, though. That was Elon Musk's doing. So what do you guys think? I really think, and I'd like to hear Juan's opinion as far as the financial stuff, but I think this is all where we're heading. And again, it's a show for the normies. Don't forget that, but we got to live through it. National emergency that halts the midterms. Probably an economic crisis of sorts that crashes the dollar. I think, which Juan said could lead to the kind of violence for an EBS, or they could be arresting people at that time, which leads to an EBS. I don't think there'll be 10 days of darkness. I think there'll be like 3 where they change over things. This is just my opinion and things that I picked up. You got to understand, though, the money thing, it's just got to happen that way, as far as my understanding is, to change over to a new gold-backed monetary system. We have to kind of go through, what did Juan say, like a bankruptcy of sorts or something. So don't be surprised when you see all that false flags, the Golden Gate Bridge stuff. I'm not sure what day that they were talking about. October for that too, weren't they? I think it is for the normies, guys. You got to remember that. And I know you're living through it all too, but it's stuff you are hearing in advance that's going to happen, stuff you know about. Stuff they'll have no clue about, but they'll be coming that direction. They'll be learning, guys. Don't lose hope. We are going exactly in the direction they said we would, that they promised. I find it exciting. We're going to have amazing days ahead. And I don't know about the med bed stuff, but what I can tell you is the kind of technology, it won't matter how they do it. They've talked about having these machines you sit down in or something, they scan you and they can tell you all about yourself. That I could see. But then the kind of cures they're going to have for things, I don't know that you'll even need that kind of thing. Is there a bed that's like a cure everything bed? I doubt that exactly, but I think we're going to see so many types of cures and healing processes advance. A lot's going to advance. The energy is a big deal, though. It's how everything in the world goes round. They've got to do better in that, and I'm sure they are working on it. I'm sure they have so many great things ahead of us. It's going to be great. Science in the future will be like real science where you're really trying to do good things. Politics will be the same where you're not getting paid to lie. It's all been lies. But it will change. It is going to change. And you're going to be there for it. And I'm going to be there for it. And we're going to be the calm before and during the storm, right? And we're going to do it the right way. We're going to love each other. We're going to take this country back to whatever God's will for it is. And I believe we will blossom as a country under God, too. Yeah, Susan, I get you. There will be a day when that movie will end. I think it's the sum of all fears thing. I think part of what Josh is talking about with China and stuff, I don't know. I think some of it's just planned that way. They've told us about sum of all fears. Juan told us about a standoff, a near-death experience. I think it'll build up like that, and it'll look that way, and then after that, I think we won't have any actual wars happening on the planet. And any that do, you'll have the wrath of everybody coming down on you. Countries run by real leaders under free elections. It's going to be amazing. And you are going to see it. And all of us are going to be a part of the most amazing time the planet's probably ever seen. That's the cool part of it. It's nice to see the way things are changing. I thought the Patriot Games was cool. I thought that was a cool thing to do. The kids just look so patriotic, didn't they? I mean, 9/11 happened my sophomore year in school, and that kind of sparked a type of patriotism in everybody, but different, obviously. I think people seeing the truth of what happened there will I don't know. People are going to see all this stuff, and their hearts are going to sink and drop, and all those feelings that you're feeling now, seeing it, they're going to go through. and you'll be there for them. The best thing we do now is stay positive. We ask God to guide our path. We help out where we can. We spread positivity where we can. We spread the truth where we can. Let's see if anybody else came on tonight. And I can't wait to see how the world blossoms. I'm excited for that. I want to see a free Africa, you know, stuff like that. I want to see. I want to see all that. And we're gonna see all that. Michael Jaco is live. John Michael Chambers has a short 15-minute video. Maybe we should check out real quick. I think it's important to look at because it's about the timing. Oops, open the wrong thing. It's short, I promise.
Watch what VapoRub does to your brain.
So I was watching YouTube a few weeks back, and I came across this video of a guy who's...
That said, even at the point that the president does what I've said he is likely to do, pause the midterms, just before the midterms. Some other people have come forward and said they think it could happen as early as late August, Steve Bannon being one of them. I don't think so. We're not, we need every inch of runway to get this big bird off. And so I don't think it happens literally till the last week of October. We're going to use every inch of the runway. So, you know, and by the way, just let me clear something up. You know, I've mentioned that we're going, we've probably just come through, if you tried to equate things to numbers, it's squishy a little bit, but just to get a mental picture, we've been here in this midsummer period in what I would call, say, a Category 2 storm. It's a bit blustery. The clouds are getting darker. Fauci's testimony was far more important and impactful than most people realize because it was the pivot point to understand that the illusions that are being foisted upon America have been very effectively foisted and out into the world are beginning to be shattered and dissipated, and the truth is getting a chance to break through. That said, you know, if we pivoted, we're in some kind of a 3 category. That doesn't go 3-7. Really, the most difficult parts of the storm aren't anywhere this year. The people that are saying stuff like that are misunderstanding it. No, you know, it's going to continue to build. The worst of the storm is sometime next year. And we would move all the way up to a 6. And briefly, not for years and years, but for a tiny window, I think it will peak out in the 7 range because some things are so, you know, look, I've said it's a near-death experience for America. It is a Cuban Missile Crisis type event, which Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, used exactly word for word, precisely the same terminology as I did months later. from the presidential compound. And there was kind of a reason for that. But the short version is that's yet to come. And it's not really during this calendar year for a bunch of reasons. And even, there's been people very, very highly critical of the president, that he hasn't acted fast enough, decisively enough, should have gone straight to Insurrection Act and thrown people in prison before the midterms here and exercise his power as commander in chief. And I just had, again, this conversation this morning with somebody who pretty much everybody in this audience would know. And I said, you got to take a breath and understand why the president and the people around him haven't pulled the trigger the way that you think that they should. And it's not because they're not patriots or they're exposing us to all sorts of danger, etc. If you're running a race car, if you're bringing an aircraft out, you start it, you go do a ground walk around the aircraft, ground check. You have a checklist, and then you go into the aircraft, you set things in a certain configuration, you start the engine. As you're idling the engine, you're bringing it up to temperature, lots of different areas so that all the parts warm up, checking your exhaust gas temperature, things like that, manifold pressure. You taxi over to a position to move on to the flight line. And even there, you continue to have to verify in your checklist all sorts of things that ensure that you're ready to take off, even flat positions, things like that. Once you get through all...
What he's telling you is everything's a process that you have to go by. If you just jump to certain things, it's like bungee jumping before you tie off the bungee, except that's a short way of saying it, but it's not as easy as you think to be in the kind of positions they are. I imagine it's not always as fun as it looks, probably not fun at all to know what they know and to try and pull off what they're pulling off. What he's saying about the timing is, as far as the election stuff, he wants to get as close to election as possible, and it probably ties in with the economy stuff. And then what else did he say there? I can't remember what else he said. But do you get what I'm saying? Trump couldn't just... And what... And the way he's telling it to you is... It's also... It's not that it's not true, and it's not that it's 100% accurate either. I think there were some military tribunals already, but that's not just grabbing people and throwing them in prison. That is a legal process that happened that we can't see yet. I know Mikey. I think he'll come on my show again. He's been on, and I think he knows that what I'm doing here is trying to show what everybody's saying anyway. We're all trying to do the right thing, and we may not understand all of this, and we may have already seen... Did we already see that interview? I missed a couple of these that were so good, and I should read them to you because, they're as motivating as anything. At times, the burdens of life seem overwhelming and all the blessings you've received seem to have vanished. It might sound very courageous to say that you can handle everything that life throws at you. But if your spirit is broken and your ability to recover is diminished, you need a real and vital relationship with God to get you through. The glorious truth, His truth, is what matters, and that truth is that He cares for you. He wants to share life with you. Every burden and anxiety will be a new opportunity to grow. Jesus had compassion as a distinctive characteristic of His personality. It flowed from the very center of His heart into His teachings. That's why people enjoyed listening to Him and walked miles just to hear Him. The brief record that we have of what He did and taught in 3 years reveals the depth of His wisdom and the uniqueness of His revelation of God the Father. If life has disappointed you, or if you have failed and are filled with despair and have no idea where to turn to for inspiration or strength, remember that compassion and the power of His love. He encourages you to persevere and to rebuild your life. Those are amazing. That's not even up to today yet. Here's today's. We often pray for our family, loved ones, friends, and people in need. But some of our prayers need to be exclusively about God. That is what David did in Psalm 103. He praised the unequivocal love of God. David praises God because He does not remain angry forever, and He does not punish us as we deserve. His love is as great as the span of the heavens above the earth. He removes our sins from us so that we do not need to dwell on them any longer. David expresses his gratitude and admiration for God's greatness. Follow David's example and spend the next time praying and expressing gratitude to God in your prayer. I love these. These are great. It's like the best book ever, Susan. There's so much strength in that right there. And that's the truth you need, and that's all the truth you really need. But curious as we are in nature, we've gotten a good view given to us of what's going to happen. That's why Q was put into existence for you, for this moment, so you'd understand what was coming and what's already happened to as much a degree as they could tell you. And it's done a lot for us. And there's been so many good people along the way that have gotten us here also. And I really appreciate what they do. So all he's really saying here is just about the ultimate timing, whether he's talking about God's timing or how that factors into Trump's timing or the plan's timing or just how things progress as it is. There's timing to things, you know. Anyway, let me see if anything else is on or has come up. I know, I think we've seen this. I'm just, trying to motivate you guys the best I can and show you that it's all going to work out. Yeah, I'm looking. It's tough times. Chances are things will look a bit darker before it looks brighter, but I don't know. Maybe not. It just kind of depends on how you're looking at it. I kind of feel happier as I see things progress because I don't know. I've listened to this stuff for so long and it is progressing the way they said it would. I haven't seen Miss Jenny Jareed in 2 weeks now. Wonder what happened to her. Maybe she's on vacation. Sometimes you gotta take a vacation. Sometimes you gotta go out and set your mind straight and focus on something else and come back to it. It's not all as bad as it looks. Most of what you see is probably not what actually is.
In the latest declassified documents, Hunter Biden and Devin Archer were among several individuals listed as FBI equities. Remember we talked about equities last week. AI defined FBI equities as an agency's equities are its interests, authorities, investigation, sources, methods.
I won't keep you guys any longer.
Have you ever
I mean, just point out some great things that are on right now on YouTube before you go. Josh Reed's on Red Pills TV. His episode 1204 titled The Storm Has Arrived. The Real Ishmael Perez Ascension Update. The purging has begun.
Ask Commander Valiant Thor what he knows about the large collider built in Texas, perhaps in the underground. Thanks for pointing it out, Rachel. I'm actually going to have to look into that per what Commander Valiant Thor knows about that. So I will probably address that on Saturday when I do a galactic report.
That guy sounds interesting. I still haven't had a chance to really watch his channel. So though both of those guys are live right now on YouTube. Let me see if anything else is on. Bill Quinn's got some small videos about South Korea and accountability with Fauci. This might be good. Excuse me. His channel's WTQ. China's hidden hand in global elections. Is South Korea being used as a proxy? Interesting. Let me see what else is on. Melissa Red Pill's channel's doing good. She does a lot of stuff kind of like we do here. So, check those channels out, subscribe. If you weren't here last night, Space Shot 76 had the Ghost on. That was a good interview. They're a good group. I don't know if Nino had anybody on. Oh yeah, Nino. Looks like he had what's that guy's name? John Carmen, former U.S. Secret Service. He was on earlier today. He does a good interview. Trump under threat as national security emergency looms. There's a video from earlier today. So, I point all that out to you. Am I forgetting anything, guys? I hope you got something from it today. I think you did. What book was I reading from? It's a cool little book. Susan sent it to me, and it's so cool. I love it. And I have things to send out to you guys. I'm having a trouble finding the right size package for the Kid by the Side of the Road books I got to send out to you. It's getting done, though. It's all good. Anyway, I hope you had some fun tonight. We've been on a little over 3 hours. I hope you learned some stuff. I hope you kind of have an idea of where we're headed and what's coming and who you can watch to get more information. And I'll always keep you updated as best I can right here. My dog's a scratching, but another week. August is moving quick. Stay safe, guys. I hope the storms cool off up north. I haven't looked at my radar in a little while. Looks like southern Illinois and western Kentucky have some storms. Northern Nebraska, South Dakota, way up there. A little bit on the East Coast. It's kind of some stuff all over the place. Not good. It's likely everybody up there in northern Illinois and Indiana and Ohio will have more weather coming, not tonight or today, but the next day or so. More rain, at least. You know, it's weird. There haven't really been any major hurricanes, or everything seems pretty quiet out in the oceans. It's different. Don't forget, guys, if the meteor shower, if any of you are up tonight, or go out and check it out. I think it said from midnight to dawn is the best time to check it out. I will probably do that. Anybody have any questions before I go? For those of you leaving, have a really good night. Sleep well. Stay positive. Say some prayers. I'll be on again tomorrow because of the Saharan dust. We always kind of get the Saharan dust. It usually seems like it usually stays north of where the storms move, though. But you're right, it is farther south, and I guess I don't know, it's really warm ocean temperatures. You would think there'd be more storms, but don't let it fool you yet. The season's not over, so there's always a chance for more. Yeah, the heat sucks. That heat's something else. This year is gonna set all kinds of records. It's definitely a stormy time. Anyway, I love you guys. God bless you. Everybody good to go? I can't leave if you're not good to go. I will send us out with a video. Maybe. Good night and God bless you. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. We've got some difficult days ahead.
And we are going to make our country great again.
I just want to do God's will. I may not get that way, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I am talking about genuine peace, the kind of peace that makes life on earth worth living, the kind that enables men and nations to grow and to hope and build a better life for their children. Not merely peace for Americans, but peace for all men and women. Not merely peace in our time, but peace in all time.